Back for the second tutorial on how to get this five wall panel placer script to work for you. So what I'm going to show you is how to get it finally set up and then to run the overall operation, how to get started. So if we go back and review, we want to make sure that when we unpack or unzip, we're going to make sure that we've got within documents the five wall panel placer folder with all the data there. And then I also have to show, I need to put in my rooms. So we're going to have a room library with all the base rooms that you would have, or whichever ones you want to add to it at one point in time. You'll end up getting one included with this that's all set ready to go, which would be called the beige living room. But I've got one I've been playing with to show you how to do the recalibration. Finally, if I have many other files that I want to put in there, I would just copy them and drag them in, put them right in here, and I'll have my room library that I can use and keep calibrating all of them. So once you have the rooms, or you can keep adding to the rooms at any point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and we're going to start the overall script. And it says, say File, Scripts, Five Wall Panel Placer, and then the dialog box comes up. And you'll notice right now, the first thing I'm going to do is select a room. And the way that the script works is that it will remember your last room that you worked on. It will remember your last save location, and it'll remember your last export quality. So you don't have to keep coming back and putting those in each and every time. So once you get it set up, it'll remember what you had as far as a preference. But in this case, I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, I need to select a room. And in this case, I'm going to go through and I want to recalibrate. So it'll show you all those files that I have in there, which ones need calibration, which ones are ready to go. But I can also recalibrate. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to recalibrate the ranch bedroom. So I'm going to highlight that, hit calibrate. And on here, since I'm recalibrating, it'll show me what my existing settings are, but you won't have any if you're starting from the scratch. But I'm going to look for 5 different things. First one is what's the left side of a known distance. And in this case, I'm going to assume that I know the distance of this bed. I'm going to assume it's a king size bed. Looks like it's roughly a king size bed. And it goes from this edge here, if you can see my cursor, to the other edge. So I'm going to do left, right, and then I'm going to confirm what that distance is. So if I know what the size of that king size bed is, I'll plug that in. And then I'm going to go through and say, where is the middle of the art? Should go, and I might say it's right along this area. And then what's the bottom of the art? So I'm going to put in those 5 pieces of data. And from that, the overall script will do a calibration based on the overall templates that we have set up. So I'm going to start, I'm going to hit yes. And in this case, I want to move a few things so I can kind of see what I've got. So if I take a look at the left side, again, this is, I put my cursor there. And if you look at the very top, it's going to say 3 1/16. So you look at the ruler, so it's 3 1/16. So I put it in a decimal unit, 3.0625. I hit next. If I go to the right side, I'm roughly on this side. If I look at the very top, it's like 8 1/8. Should be right there. I put in 8 1/8. And then I say, I think that this is a king size bed, and a king size bed roughly is 78 inches. So I'm going to put in 78 inches. If it's a couch or a queen bed, if it's a different size that you do know, put that in. So maybe you don't know. Maybe you want to take a look. Here's the size of this window. Maybe this window is 30 inches wide. So you click this side, and tell me that is 30 inches. So we're doing it based on a bed. We're going to look at that, 78 inches, hit OK. I'm going to find the center. And the center, you may have to do some adjustments, but take a look at it. So I'm looking at it's right around 5.625. And I've done it before, I've recalibrated. So it's right about there is the exact center. I put in that number, hit OK. Now I'm going to say, what's the lowest point I want my artwork to show? And I'll say the lowest point is roughly that line. And I'll look all the way across, and it should be about 2 3/4. So I'll put in the 2 3/4, I hit OK. And then look to confirm, this is going to be a confirmation, this red square is a 24 by 36 inch landscape. If that does not look right and is not positioned in the right spot, you want to go back and readjust the position. So I might come along and say I need to adjust the position, move it a couple decimals back and forth till I get what I think is the exact center. Now I'm going to hit save calibration. And then this is an optional thing, but I would suggest you do it because it'll save you some time in the future. Yeah, let's say that you put a template and you're looking for let's say a 40 by 90 and it won't fit on this wall. So one thing you don't want to do is, again, we're going to find the left boundary of where I put my maximum artwork is, and then the top, left and right, and then the top. So for instance, I'm going to say my left boundary is right about there. It's 3.5 because I don't have a way to do the put a layered mask over this. So you're going to say maximum. I want to make sure it doesn't show in the antlers. So 3.5. Right side is 7.75 or 7.7, somewhere right around there. And then the top edge, maximum I want to go to is about 0.25. So here's my 0.25. Again, here's my 7.7. Here's my 3.5. So when I hit put in all that information, I preview the boundaries, and you can see the blue box to tell me it's within this. All my templates have to fit in there. If it doesn't fit in there, the program will come back and tell you you've exceeded the boundaries. You can still print it off if you want. It may end up showing it over, but just to save you a hassle of getting a mock-up that you won't ever use, it just won't run it for you if you don't want it to. Or if you want to go back through and just put it in big and then do a layered mask, clean it up, you can always do that. So now I'm going to save those boundaries, and now this ranch bedroom 1 is ready for mock-up and is already calibrated, ready to go. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to say, now I'm going to select this mock-up. I'm going to say I'm going to do a 30 by 45, and I can put in a couple other ones. I can say I want it unframed, or I want a float frame, and I want to do it brown, or I can come along and say I want it be in a matte, with a white matte with a brown frame, narrow, or I can do a wide one. If I want black, white, natural, or brown, and we'll see what we can come up with. So now I hit generate, and then it's going to ask me to pick an image that I'm going to work off of. In this case, I'm going to work with a landscape image. Hit OK, and then we're going to let it process. It's going to think about it. It says, wait a minute, that 30 by 45 I wanted is too big for a frame. So matter of fact, I went through the matte and frame. Well, doesn't like it. So now I got to go through and say I'm going to do a 24 by 36. The reason why is because I don't have a matte and paper frame that big. So ask me a time to do it again. Select that, and then we're going to let it process. So it takes a little bit of time to crunch through there. It all depends upon how fast your computer is, and then shortly it'll spit out a mock-up for us. Let me take a look at that. Would be the matte frame 24 by 36 inch somewhere on that wall, and hopefully it's in the center. If not, we'll go back and recalibrate and get something to work. And there we have it. And this looks a little bit too big for the overall screen, but I'm going to shrink it down. So now I have a mock-up that looks like this, and you can kind of see it started out in a different spot, slid it in the right location, and there's my mock-up, and that's all you have to do. And then just go back and change your sizes that you want. It keeps your ranch bedroom, keeps all the sizes, or the overall sizes, and then the desktop where I saved it, and overall the quality. So when you're finished, just hit cancel, and you're done.